and welcome to a year of eternal love. Acim Workbook for Students, Lesson 49. God's voice speaks to me all through the day. It is quite possible to listen to God's voice all through the day without interrupting your regular activities in any way. The part of your mind in which truth abides is in constant communication with God, whether you are aware of it or not. It is the other part of your mind, functions in the world and obeys the world's laws. It is part that is constantly distracted, disorganized, and highly uncertain. The part that is listening to the voice of God is calm, always at rest, and wholly certain. It is really the only part there is. The other part is a wild illusion, frantic and distraught, but without reality of any kind. Try today not to listen to it. Try to identify with the part of your mind where stillness and peace reign forever. Try to hear God's voice call to you lovingly, reminding you that your Creator has not forgotten His Son. We will need at least 4 5-minute practice periods today, and more if possible. We will try actually to hear God's voice, reminding you of Him and of yourself. We will approach this happiest and holiest of thoughts with confidence, knowing that in doing so, we are joining our will with the will of God. He wants you to hear His voice. He gave it to you to be heard. Listen in deep silence. Be very still and open your mind. Go past all the raucous shrieks and sick imaginings that cover your real thoughts and obscure your eternal link with God. Sink deep into the peace that waits for you beyond the frantic, riotous thoughts and sights and sounds of this insane world. You do not live here. We are trying to reach your real home. We are trying to reach the place where you are truly welcome. We are trying to reach God. Do not forget to repeat today's idea very frequently. Do so with your eyes open when necessary, but closed when possible. And be sure to sit quietly and repeat the idea for today whenever you can, closing your eyes on the world and realizing you are inviting God's voice to speak to you. And for the insights today on Lesson 49, God's voice speaks to me all through the day. Our Creator's voice is always speaking to us The Holy Spirit is always speaking to us. But it is our ego's voice that's always whispering, that's always covering our real thoughts, always covering their voice, God's voice, the Holy Spirit's voice, your true voice. The ego's thoughts, the fear-based thought system of guilt and specialness and of separation is not of reality. And these mindless illusions keep you away from hearing the voice of reality, the voice of love, the voice of unity. When we keep trying to concoct specialness, which is meaning we are by ourselves, we concoct and construct these complex layers of instances and experiences about ourselves of why we are different from somebody, either more deserving or less deserving than another. And it is up to us to realize when we are in silence, when we stop the mindless chatter, we are able to remember our oneness, our sonship, our oneship. We are able to remember that we are all loved equally. There is no more deserving of you than you are. When you think of another, you're not thinking of them, you're thinking of yourself. In silence is when we find ourselves. How many times can you say that you're able to sit with yourself in silence, even for a few minutes? And to not allow the mindless chatter and the sensory data that comes into our mind from outside sources, looking at this light, the time, space, everything else, it's coming and we're processing it. This is why we're doing mind training. We're training the mind. That's what we are. We are of the one mind. We are of the one sonship. We are part of the one love of our Creator, the Source. And in the Course, it refers to that as God. This is a Course in Miracles. And all healing is a release from fear. And every time we're allowing our ego, this shadow self, this false identity of who we think that we are, when we keep letting that voice run the show and keep going and building, we are sent more and more into these illusions of fear. But they seem very real to us. It was why we went over yesterday. There is nothing to fear because fear is not real. Only God's love. And that is who we are. And that's the other name of God, love. Allow yourself, do these practice periods. Do you think everyone does every practice period? No. Doesn't mean you did it wrong. Doesn't mean you can't go proceed to the next lesson if you didn't do all the practice periods. But they are here so that they can be absorbed by our mind. Again, this is mind training. We're rewiring the mind. And I'm so glad that you joined with me today. This is a year of eternal love. I love you. And I hope you'll join me for tomorrow's lesson. And until then, God bless.